Hey guys, it's Stephen here, back with another video, and today I thought I'd take a look at the future, because the future seems reassuring right about now, doesn't it? I want to talk about 8 Manchester City centre-back options that basically could be the solution to Manchester City's problems whenever football starts again. There's a whole variety of names on here, so I'm very interested to see what you think about all these kind of things. And also, before I do that, I want to say, I've got a few very small announcements. I want to say thank you to my latest patrons. Seriously, at the moment, Patreon pretty much is my lifeblood, and these 3 new names: Tony Cyprus, I think it's Cyprus or Cyprus, thank you very much Tony, Nathan Frank, and also Ty Feckler. Guys, you're all absolute heroes. Honestly, I'm self-employed, and I don't know if you're following the UK's coronavirus problem, or the world's coronavirus problem, but in the UK in particular, self-employed people don't get very much support, unfortunately. So these kind of guys, I love you all. I love everyone who's got involved so far in the Patreon. It means the world to me, genuinely. I've had a lot of bad days, and it picks me up big time, so thank you very much. Patreon.com/Esteemed Company if you want to get involved and help this Manchester City content creator who will love you eternally. Thank you very much. And also I want to say, I've got a new channel where I'm doing like daily vlogs to kind of I guess document this self-isolation. It's very real, I'll be honest. It's very real. I do it more for my own mental health, if I'm being honest. There'll be a link on screen right now. Please go subscribe to that. It's me documenting this crazy time I'm going through, and hopefully one day we'll look back and go, we got through this well. Fingers crossed you will do. Go check that out if you want to. But today, let's go and look at 8 potential options for Manchester City's defensive future. Basically, we know we need centre-backs. I'm going to run through a few names. I'm going to start with Dayot Upamecano. This guy is the real deal. Now, obviously, most people know who he is. If you don't, he's a 21-year-old RB Leipzig centre-back, and he's been fantastic in the Bundesliga this year. He's been absolutely phenomenal, and arguably one of the world's best young defenders, if not the world's best young defender. I like this guy. I like him an awful lot. And what I like about him mostly is he seems to be the complete package. He's big. He's very big. He's a man mountain physically, but he's also fast. He genuinely has pace to burn, which is the kind of thing you want from a centre-back in the Premier League. And better than that, at times this season, he's had a 90% pass completion rate, which is pure Guardiola. Now, obviously, he's been managed by Julian Nagelsmann, who gets RB Leipzig playing great attacking football. All the players are very comfortable on the ball, and this fits Upamecano down to a T, which makes him basically a perfect potential defender for Manchester City. His age is totally on his side, only 21. I would love this guy. I would absolutely love this guy at Manchester City. And even his career kind of so far sums up why he's so good. When he was young, the youngster, he played everywhere from forward to being a midfielder before finally settling as a centre-back at Valenciennes. He just basically can play anywhere. And he's been compared a lot to Marcel Desailly, which is very high praise. Fingers crossed City go in for him. He'd be my probably my number 1 choice, maybe. Genuinely, I like him that much. After that, you've got Milan Skriniar, who's been hugely linked to Manchester City. Now, we all know who he is. 25 Slovakian centre-back, 25-year-old Slovakian centre-back. He's done very, very, very good things at Inter Milan. Currently, as we're talking, he's the favourite to be at Manchester City. He seems to fit Guardiola's kind of requirements down to a T. Now, he just reminds me of Laporte a lot. I'm not sure he's quite as fast as Laporte, but he definitely has that very similar kind of gait in the way that he holds himself, and that very similar stride to his game. He's been fantastic in Serie this season. He's very, very, very composed, to the extent where sometimes he plays in midfield as well for Slovakia, and notably had a great game against England in midfield, actually, at one point. He's hugely linked, and I think he'd slot in very well alongside Laporte, actually. I think the games would complement each other nicely. He's got a good height, so he'd be good in the air, and he's got plenty of experience as well. 25, but he's experienced. He's been around the block a little bit. He'd be a good player at Manchester City. Thirdly, and this is another choice for me that I would love at Manchester City, Kouilbaly. Now, obviously, we all know about him as well. He is another man mountain, an absolute physical beast, tall, absolutely lightning quick as well, and he bullies defenders. And he's been very, very, very good once again for Napoli. He might actually be available given the current problems Napoli are going through. They've underwhelmed this season, and there are rumours that they need to offload some players to make back a little bit money, and they might have to do it definitely given the current economic crisis that a lot of clubs are going to be going through due to the world struggles at the moment. He is 28 years old, but he is around his peak, though there is an argument to be said that the time we're playing football again, he might be an awful lot older, which will go against him. But what I will say is that if we get someone like Koulibaly, we're getting essentially excellence immediately. We're getting someone who, in my opinion, would adapt to the Premier League and be hopefully as influential as someone like Virgil van Dijk has been at Liverpool. He's that good potentially. Just imagine him alongside Laporte in the Champions League. They would be a rock together. It might not happen, but I'd be very, very happy about that. Next on this list, Nathan Ake is also a very good option, good potential. One big plus point is, of course, that he plays in the Premier League already, and he's been a rock of reliability. Is that even a thing? A constant source of reliability. A rock for Bournemouth through the years. And he's 25 years old, so he's a good age as well. He also has exceptional versatility. He's a centre-back predominantly, but he can play at left-back, and he's been involved in midfield at times as well. And he's obviously also a Dutch international. And he has very, very good pace. Really, really fast. He's very comfortable on the ball. He's the kind of player that I reckon would improve a lot of Manchester City under someone like Guardiola. His game would grow an awful lot. Though there are some question marks about his height. He isn't the tallest centre-back in the world. That mop of hair that he's got seems to give the impression that he's taller than he is. Though he does have a very good leap to his game. And also, he is a left-footed player. There's nothing wrong with that, but you think his strongest position is also where Laporte's strongest position is, on the same side, and I would suspect they want complementary kind of footed players, if that makes sense. And maybe not, but he's also he's just good. He's good, you know. It could come at a high cost, given it's the Premier League and all that kind of stuff, but he'd very much be worth it. Next on the list is another Premier League player. It's Caglar Soyuncu. Obviously, another player has done very, very well in the Premier League this year. Leicester have been fantastic under Brendan Rodgers. They've not been quite as good as Manchester City and Liverpool, of course, but that would be a big ask given their resources. But Soyuncu has been one of the breakthrough stars of the Premier League this season. Now, he's by no means the finished product, but he is only 23, and he barely played at all last season, and he stepped in this year as Maguire's replacement and been great alongside Johnny Evans in one of the best centre-back partnerships in the Premier League. He's got loads of room to improve as well. He reminds me of the best sides of Otamendi. Not the Otamendi that jumps in is really raspy. When you think about Otamendi, how he's a warrior and he gets called the general, Soyuncu reminds me a little bit of him. He's got that kind of aggression to his game, which makes him really, really useful when your back's to the wall. Now, he isn't perfect. He has got a long way to go, but he's only 23. There's loads of room to improve, as I said there, and he's been impressive at Leicester. He understands the Premier League very well. He can pass. He does have a decent turn of pace, and he also has a confidence and cockiness to the game, which I really, really admire. Sometimes you need someone with a little bit of fight, and that's what Soyuncu's got, and I think he'd suit Manchester City style very, very well. Next up on this list is Ruben Dias. Now, this guy is very potentially attainable and very hopefully attainable because he's only 22 years old and he's fantastic. He's easily, in my opinion, Portugal's best defender, and he's done very good things at Benfica. Now, of course, he's only been tested at Benfica so far, which is a level below the Premier League with all due respect to that competition, but he has every single box that we want ticked off. He's a good height. He's about 6'1", 6'2", something like that. He's very composed. He's athletic. He's strong, and he definitely can pass a ball. That is why he's on his list. Everyone on this list can pass a ball. And I really like the fact that he can ping long balls over the top as well. He's very good at that, which reminds me a lot of Laporte. And he's very versatile as well. His physicality, his height, his age, and the fact that he'd probably be a reasonable price of around 50 to 60 million, which is a lot of money. But when you think what you got for Laporte as well, it would make him a very desirable prospect. Fingers crossed. Next on the list is a bit of a left field one. Tosin Adarabioyo. Why not? No, I don't think this will happen. But what I would love to see is a future where Tosin Adarabioyo continues this upward trajectory that he's showing on loan at Blackburn. Now, if you've not been following, you might be thinking, what is going on here? Really, Adarabioyo? But honestly, he's been fantastic for Blackburn. The guy is really starting to come into his own now as a professional footballer. It took him a while to adapt to the demands of the physicality of football in general at this level. But what we're seeing now is a guy who is 6'4", who has a good turn of pace and can pass a ball, and he's starting to physically dominate people. He's really starting to grow into his body, so he's no longer that kind of lanky, it doesn't look like basically a little kind of baby deer, you know what I mean? He hasn't got that kind of insecurity about his movement anymore. He's a lot more assured now, and Blackburn fans love him. Now, I know it's only the Championship, but this kid is a very good player, and he's starting to show the potential that he showed at a youth level where he bullied people and bullied teams, and also, more importantly, he looks so confident now in his ball control in terms of his passing is absolutely excellent. He's constantly breaking the lines, and he's become one of the breakout stars in the Championship. Now, it may be a bit too soon, but I would love one day, hopefully, that he can become maybe the season after or something like that. That would be wonderful. He could also be a very bold option for next season if two centre-backs go. Get Adarabioyo back as the fourth, maybe. And finally, an even bolder shout, which is probably never going to happen. How about we just trust the academy kids? How about we turn around and say to Eric Garcia and Harwood Bellis, You're the future now. You go for it. Now, this is not going to happen, but I thought I'd put them in there because they very much deserve to be in there. Eric Garcia, as we know, has been fantastic when he's got involved, and he's also been great in the Premier League as well. He's had a great season, Eric Garcia, in the limited time that he's played. Maybe he's been unlucky to not play more games, because when he has been called on, he showed that maturity that belies his very young years. He's such a cool, composed centre-back. He isn't the biggest, he isn't the strongest, but that brain of him is about 5 steps ahead of everyone else, and that's what makes him fantastic. And Howard Bellis, what more can be said as well? Another fantastic prospect. He is only very, very young, but he has everything to his game. He's got a good turn of pace. He's strong. He can pass. He's a low-crawl lad as well. And those two could build a very good centre-back partnership together at some point in the future. Now, this is a very, very unlikely, but it's an option, so I'm putting it on this list. Guys, that brings me to these 8 options that we've got. Is it 8? I'm pretty certain it is 8. Well, I put 2 of them together at the end, those two, the Academy lads. Let me know what you think. What's your preferred option? What do you want to see Manchester City do next year whenever football's back again? Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and big thank you to all these guys here. These guys are my patrons who keep this channel going. And at the moment, given the situation we're in, it means more than you could possibly realise. It seriously does. Go and check out my new channel as well. There'll be a link on screen right now. Go watch some of those very real vlogs, and I'll see you tomorrow.